Most businesses have a general average lifespan between 13 and 20 years. And for a number of those businesses die off because of what is known as the founder's curse. The founder who founded the business passes on, and there hasn't been a really thorough succession planning. So when they pass on, the business also transitions. Some run for a bit and then transition. But for most businesses that fall off within that period, research now shows that a large proportion of them is due to the fact that there hasn't been a really thorough strategic thinking through around how the business ought to continue. And often this is largely because, businesses start off with a defined business model. That business model runs. But eventually what, business owners don't realize is that no business model is perpetual. You can run one single business model. At some point in the future, or even nearer than the future, that business model becomes obsolete. The trick around that, however, is that for any business at all, you should be, from a board perspective that I speak from, you should be working with three different horizons in terms of strategy. The first horizon is usually the current business model you're running. And so you're running that very efficiently. You're making the most out of the current markets you're in, out of the current products and services you're in, with the current mix of, distribution lines and whatever. You're running that business model, and that's great. But there are two other business, horizons you should be working, simultaneously. The second one should be you looking at your current circumstances, internally and externally, understanding what dynamics are running, whether they are risk or opportunity. And then as a result of that, start formulating another business model that can take over in a couple of years. So you're running a current business model that has been running for, God knows, decades or whatever the time might be. And then side by side that, you're exploring a different business model that should be able to take over from the current business model in a number of years. So eventually that second business model or business horizon becomes the standard business model. The third business horizon you should be operating from a board perspective should be a conscious investment that the organization is making into new business ideas or new business ventures, whether internally or in collaboration, that are likely to take over, the industry or have a bigger play within the industry. And there's so many ways of doing that. You can either set up, a unit within the organization that is, supported with financing and every other resource to start exploring and experimenting with new business ideas, or you can have a unit that explores external business ideas that are coming up from startups and the rest, and determine which of those aligns with your objectives as an organization or as align with your long-term strategy, and begin to explore investment in those so that eventually you can begin to veer into those business models. So at all times, have at least three business horizons that you're working with as a board to ensure that your business does have continuity when the original business model starts to fade away.